This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map Fire Island, and spawning in the bottom left side as the tastefully blue Empire player from YZZD. It is Water! That's why I said tastefully blue, because it's so fitting. But in the top right side as the purple Soviets, again from YZZD, the Chinese player, aiop. That's right, it is a Chinese replay, of course, sent to me from YZZD PK. Big shoutouts to that dude. He's provided a number of very good games for me to cast from the Chinese players, so a big thanks to him. Of course, been playing, or not been playing, but been casting quite a few games today. A couple of ones were emailed. I have no idea if I'm going to upload them, because they were pretty meh. I guess if I've uploaded them at this point, you will know what I'm talking about. I may not upload them. I may just save them for a rainy day in case there's like a time where I don't really have any games to upload, and then I'll just upload those. I don't know. Maybe I'll never let them see the light of day. At any rate, it all depends, you know? Supply and demand. If there's a lot of replays and they're really good, then I'm not going to upload anything that's not, like, great, or that at least has great parts. Oh, run over 2 bears, Water with the value dojo. 3 bears for that dojo. Someone do that math, but that is more than a dojo. It's, what is it, like 675 credits or something like that? Something along those lines. I'm not going to try to do the math right here, right now, but it's somewhere in that range. Of course, this one little burst drone being so annoying, and it is going to be Super Reactor after Dual Refinery, after War Factory, but before Expand. Also going to be dropping down the Sentry Gun. Not something you see super often, but I guess he doesn't want to have to deal with too many of these infantry shenanigans from our Empire player, who just drops down that dojo right in the middle of the map. I think it was a triple, maybe a quad dojo opener for our Empire player. As you can see, 1 oil there for each of these guys. And Terror Drone's also out on the map, so it looks like he wanted to go for a couple of Terror Drones, even a Sickle on top of that. But again, oh my gosh, that is like perfect timing on that. If he would have waited maybe a second or 2 more with that Terror Drone, which I don't even think I've ever seen that done, but if he would have waited a second or more, that Sickle would have been either A, dead, or B, very close to dead. At any rate, that wall never got finished off, but we do indeed have our Mecha Bay down for our Empire player. It is going to be after the MCV move, so he's going to be establishing that Mecha Bay nicely at his 3rd base location. And of course, this is Fire Island. You can take those 4 bases relatively quickly, and nice transform, but immediately into that Terror Drone's claws, and the jump from one of the Sickles will be, I don't know what is wrong with that Terror Drone. Oh, what the heck, that Tank Buster, a little bit of a glitch there from those units. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's like the Sickle landed, I guess, right as the Tank Buster went down into a spider hole, and so it didn't properly, there was some sort of physics-like interaction that didn't happen properly, some sort of weird collision error. So actually, the nice control here from our Empire player, going to be saving pretty much all of his Tank Busters from taking too much damage, although he does get eliminated there immediately after I say nice control. He flubs it quite a bit there. Conscript does go down. There's 2 more Imperial Warriors, but this barracks really isn't going to be all that useful for too much longer. As you can see, the Sickles are getting so much closer to just eliminating units one by one as they pop out. And it looks like he's going to try to do something cute by hiding a couple of Tank Busters over in another part of the map, but right down into a spider hole. You can try to, like, jump up and jump back down and just let the Tank Buster get a single shot off to try to get more value, but then if you time it wrong, you just end up losing the Tank Buster. Not a whole lot of good use coming there. Oh my gosh, he tried to jump that Sickle to avoid the damage of the Tagu right as it died. I don't know if he actually had Honorable Discharge purchased. He should have, or at least that's what a lot of European and kind of players who play on the primary servers do, is immediately go for that Honorable Discharge. And my gosh, Water is just doing his absolute best to be so annoying with this barracks. I said that this barracks wasn't going to be too useful, and he's trying to find ways to be so annoying with that barracks. He actually still has this 1 single burst drone on top of that Harvester, just constantly slowing it down. And I think, I don't remember the exact specs, but I think it doubles the travel time. So instead of like 10 seconds for a full trip there and back, it's like 20 seconds, something like that. It is kind of ridiculous. So it basically cuts that 1 refinery in half. You're of course getting the same amount of resources, but they're coming in twice as slowly. And of course, this 1 Sickle, can he actually escape? No, he will not. So it looks like 2 burst drones exactly. It's not a case of like burst drones do 45% damage they take away 45% of the Sickle's life, so then the Sickle barely survives. Crane is indeed down. 3 and 4 refineries are up for our Empire player, so he's going to be sitting on that 4-base economy. He's up to that tier 2 on that Mecha Bay, and he's also packed along that dojo. He has indeed kept that around. I'm not sure. Yeah, that was actually built after the Mecha Bay, so he built that specifically for the tank busters, for the extra infantry units, which is definitely a good idea. We do have the barracks getting dropped down the airfield as well, and of course, with that Crusher Crane, you can move your MCV, drop your refineries, and then move your MCV and have them go somewhere else. As you can see, he's doing that, which of course is very important in bringing your MCV to the front lines to tank. Walls may need to be constructed here to help block off a little bit of this. If I remember correctly, you can't actually wall this entire thing off, but you can, I believe, wall off like 4 or 5 of those segments. And look at that. That Sickle tried to get on top of those tank busters. A little bit of a mistake there from aiop. He's going to be able to escape, though, with that Sickle. Can he actually get on top of these tank busters with the bears? That's kind of the real question. No, he's not actually going to be trying there. I guess one of these tanks potentially could have turned around, but that is going to be the hammer tank with the cool gun. He's looking way more awesome than any of the other guys that he's hanging out with. He's like, oh, you've got 1 gun? Psh, I've got 2. You have no idea. However, hammer tanks at the front of the line. This 3rd one needs to get up here, and can those Sickles actually do their job? No, they cannot. The bears also getting eliminated really quite quickly. Those Tengus doing a good job of making sure that the anti-infantry DPS is not able to touch those tank busters. The hammer tanks, on the other hand, are doing a pretty good job of laying down a lot of damage on top of these Tengus. The transform micro is indeed quite nice. I'm going to stop trying to say real so often because I'm just overusing that. It's one of like those casterisms where you just, for whatever reason, you latch onto a word for a short amount of time, or a relatively short amount of time, and then you just keep using that word over and over ad nauseum for no reason, and it kind of becomes like a crutch. That sudden transport is really quite clever, as we do have an engineer growing up into that sudden transport. What did I even say there? He jumped inside of that sudden transport. Is it actually going to be for that? No, it's just going to be for this oil derrick over here, revealing the sudden transport. Man, I don't even think he knows about this over here. Over on the left side of the map, we do indeed have that Terror Drone trying to get the infect, but he will settle for a Mecha Tengu. Will he actually be able to do anything with that? I guess not. However, we do have an engineer going to be getting popped out from that barracks, and I mean, again, the more you trade engineers on top of these oil derricks, the less value you actually get for those oil derricks, because it takes like 60 seconds? Is it 60 seconds to recoup 500 credits? It's right around there. So if you have to produce like, I don't remember what it is. I think it's 60 seconds. Yeah. That's what I'm going to be going for. Now, will he actually be able to deal with this Tengu harass aiop? He's, of course, going to be activating that adaptive armor on the Harvester, but will he actually be able to deal with these? Oh, that was an engineer inside of that. That was a crazy expensive Tengu. 1,700 credits down the drain right there for aiop. He's going to be very upset about that, considering he just built that engineer fresh out of the presses, fresh out of the barracks, to try to deal with, or to try to recap that oil derrick. However, the Tengus are going to be taking some shots from the Bullfrogs. It's not quite enough. This Harvester has just now been restarted by aiop. aiop, on the other hand, he's got his MCV on the move. He didn't actually establish anything down here. He's still got his Crusher Crane out on the field as well, which means he's got the repair ability for those Twin Blades and also for the Bullfrogs. A nice catch here. That was actually really good. Okay, no, it wasn't really good because the Twin Blade went down. If the Twin Blade hadn't gone down, that would have been a really good catch. Catching those two Tengus is just going to be so helpful, but it's not super great. Now, the harassment is going to be happening. It looks like 5 or so, maybe only 4 tank busters inside of the sudden transport, going to be heading off to the north side of the map. We're going to try to keep an eye on that going forward into this game. The airfield is still here. The War Factory is kind of in an awkward position, but the Tier 3 has not happened. We're not going to be seeing any artillery. And Water is going to be so disappointed that there's nothing here for him to kill. He might actually just spot this. Let's take a quick look at the vision of Water. There's the MCV. He's got eyes on it. He sees the reactor as well. He's like, what are you even doing up here? He may just try to harass that area with his Tengus. I'm not 100% sure. Wanakulis going to be moving on down south. May be able to actually just get the kill off on that refinery by his lonesome. aiop going to be grabbing that oil derrick back. And this, wow, that one single burst drone has been so annoying in this game. Nice control with the Bullfrog, going to be scaring away those Tengus and kills actually one of them. This oil derrick is going to be going down. I don't know if he actually controlled that long enough to be able to do the damage that he needed, or to get the cost that he needed. Maybe casting like 4 games in a row was a bit of a mistake. However, the Kula sub is going to be going back underwater, will be submerging. Then Wave Force Artillery has been revealed. If aiop was paying attention, he needs to make sure that he gets the kill on that Wave Force Artillery. He doesn't want that harassing his expansion in the middle of the map, because of course artillery are quite known for just being able to lift off or kill off these expansions so quickly. A couple of Twin Blades going down. One Twin Blade does go down, then the other 3 will end up escaping. And that Akula sub is actually getting some great kills. He kills off the refinery, he's killing off a couple of power plants, and whatever was there, he's getting it all just for the price of that one Akula sub, which Akula subs are expensive, but that one has definitely paid for himself. 2,500 credits for that refinery, another 800 or so for... Oh no, that one sudden transport. Even if he didn't have any infantry inside of him, the infantry have most likely been killed off if they are no longer inside of that sudden transport. And Water is like, I have had enough. The flood is incoming, and there is the kill off of that oil derrick. He even pulls back his units so that they won't take any damage. Nothing will happen to those units. I thought I saw blue. Am I tripping? I thought I saw blue moving out across the map right over here to meet up with that burst drone, but I guess I am wrong. Oh man, that Twin Blade, he catches fire as the last couple of missiles do impact. Desolator airstrike going to be coming in, dropping those toxins, and of course the Badger bombers will be able to kind of deter this attack. And that's, I mean, he's just zoning out this army. He's buying himself some more time. The MCV is getting pulled back out onto the water, where this army is less likely to give it chase. If you start trying to split up your army and send some of it over across the water, then the rest of it is still landlocked, and that's not always good. We do have Twin Blades on the south side. This is a great move by aiop Water. Will he actually be able to react and defend this? I should think not. He doesn't have a quick way to get some units right here, and actually aiop is just going to be called in, kills off one harvester, and immediately escapes. This power plant has been spotted by aiop, and Water is going to have to deal with this. A nice, just pretty good group of point defense drones, as you can see there. Now there's 4 of these. Oh, those terror drones, they're all just locking down that one unit. However, Emperor Rage does fire off there. All of the tank busters go underground just to save themselves, and it looks like one Tesla Trooper getting on top of part of this army. One of the King Onis does get locked down. That's absolutely great, because these leech beams from this distance will be eating up a lot of these units. However, there's the transform for one of the Chopper VXs, and can they actually get out of here? King Onis are now unlocked. They have now brought themselves out onto this battlefield, and it looks like one of them does get locked down. That terror drone with just the right placement here. Can Water actually break through the defenses of aiop? He's going to have to be very careful. We got the Wave Force Artillery hammer tank doing some pretty massive damage. These Chopper VXs, they need to either get in the air or get back from the front line, but there is going to be the crushes coming in from these hammer tanks. Those are some absolutely great crushes on top of those completely locked down tank busters. They're just not able to do the damage that they needed. Those tank busters basically wasted in this battle, but both of these armies have been basically completely trashed, trading harvester for harvester, refinery for refinery, as aiop was able to clean up one of the refineries of his opponent, and at the same time Water was able to clean up one of the refineries of aiop. But, oh, these 2 fully heroic Chopper VX is going to be able to get the kill. There's a Bullfrog, or no, 2 Bullfrogs are close, but they're not quite close enough to be able to deal with this nice control from a Water. Going to be able to, he needs to actually back up a little bit further. Good control from him, going to be saving both of those Chopper VXs. Absolutely not like brilliant micro, but it's like the control is precisely where it needs to be. He keeps the Chopper VX in position, doing the damage, backs it up pretty much at the last moment. It's not mind-blowing impossible to do stuff. It's not like super fancy tricks, but it's just that precise control of staying on top of things. And oh, that terror drone, he's going to be getting the kill on at least one of these Chopper VXs. The point defense drones do go down, which will buy an extra couple of seconds for these Chopper VXs, and maybe if they transform, they might be able to escape. Nope, never mind. Bullfrogs are way too close at this point. That Chopper VX actually just walks backwards, and it looks like one of these hammer tanks, if he didn't already have it, looks like a King Oni ability. He maybe would have been able to grab that Chopper VX. No, it does manage to escape. King Oni does get infected. He does have enough time to make it back to that mecha bay to get the healing power off and remove that terror drone, but King Oni, I don't know if he's going to. I guess maybe he can bull rush straight down the middle to try to get there a little bit more quickly. Naval Yard is still out on the field. Reactor as well is out here, but this fully heroic Chopper VX is actually going to be tearing down this barracks. Not a huge deal. If he's able to swing over here, do some damage to that, to the Harvester, then he's going to be in a pretty good position. It looks like Imperial Warrior is going to be working through the bear, but only gets eliminated by the Wave Force Hammer Tank. Which, anytime you mix hammer tanks and artillery, it's such a powerful combination. One Tsunami tank on the north side, going to be trying to focus down the infrastructure up here for AIOP and water. I think that's the King Oni that got infected by the Terror Drone. Now, it looks like this may be satellites getting called down or the Desolator Airstrike. I guess Desolator Airstrike is going to be what it is. And it is both of them, so they do get a pretty good contaminate on that field, but it's not going to be enough. And, oh, again, that precise control of that Chopper VX. It gets so close to getting taken out, but he manages to escape just barely with it. Now, we do have 3 more Chopper VXs moving out across the map. That one Tsunami tank able to force the sell-off of the reactor, able to force the sell-off of the Naval Yard. And these two players, I mean, the tech advantage is definitely going to our Empire player. But the hardiness of AIOP, he's been able to survive in this game and force some nice engagements for him, and also deny a lot of harassment. Actually, if he's able to take down, oh man, if he would have been able to take down that heroic Striker VX, that would have been so sick. But is he actually going to be able to force some more engagements in his favor, use his Terror Drones to his best ability to make sure that he's always being efficient with his units? Because the tech advantage has been in the favor of our Empire player for quite a while, but he hasn't been able to seal the deal. He hasn't been able to lock out our Soviet player from this game. And our Soviet player, he's definitely down in army, in terms of overall army value. He is definitely down, but he's not down and out for the count just yet. Things are getting very #dicey, but things are not over. And actually, this hammer tank definitely doing some nice damage. Kills the King Oni by himself. Now, suddenly, this army is nowhere near as powerful as it once was. The Chopper VXs are kind of the power units that he has to deal with. Where the Bullfrogs, they need to be on the front lines immediately dealing with these Chopper VX. Goodbye, hammer tank number 1. That was, I believe, the King Oni hammer tank. The second hammer tank will survive. It is fully heroic, and with the Bullfrogs right here, it looks like both of the Bullfrogs did end up going down, or a Bullfrog and a hammer tank, one of those combos. But those Wave Force artillery suddenly with no King Oni to protect them, and on top of that, they do have the Emperor's Rage. Why did you run away? That was kind of a weird decision to run away. Even this MCV is going to be taking a little bit of damage. Those Wave Force artillery, when a hammer tank is that low, you don't have to charge up very much to get a kill. And of course, you can use the premature firing ability to get the kill on that hammer tank. That was just kind of a weird choice to run away there. He would have gotten maybe an extra couple of shots, but this hammer tank has, or this Wave Force artillery has definitely overcommitted. He needs the protection of, I mean, the one tank buster is not going to be doing a lot, but he needs the protection of that King Oni. All right, Terror Drones are the kind of, they're the efficiency unit for our Soviet player. If he's locking down units, keeping them in place, it's at the very least going to be forcing the other units for our Empire player to move to the front lines. But again, oh my gosh, this Wave Force artillery, these Wave Force artillery hammer tanks are so powerful. Like, almost ridiculously powerful in comparison to the units that they're killing. These King Onis getting locked down so hard, which is why you see a lot of Empire players not really go for the Tier 3, because against allies, you got cryocopters and the shrink ray. Against Soviets, you got Terror Drones, which basically nullify that Tier 3. What some players would recommend is once you get up to that 4-base economy, once you start having a lot of money that you can spend, either going for some sort of big Tengu Chopper VX Tsunami tank combo where you're like harassing all the time, you're, attacking 3 spots at once, or you go for some sort of naval yard play, eventually go up to Shogun battleships, and eventually you could even go for some sort of like naval yard producing Tsunami tanks, and then you go for the Mecha Bay producing your Chopper VXs and your Tengus, and you go for basically those 3 bread and butter units. You get a lot of them, so that Terror Drones, you're going to need so many of them to actually deal with the units. You can't possibly multitask that well. You tend to not rely on the higher tech King Onis because they can get locked down so quickly. But AIOP, I have no idea what he's doing, potentially just placing this refinery in the north here, but that was way too much damage done by that King Oni. He eliminated a hammer tank or two, plus a bullfrog where he didn't actually need to, and those units were just sitting there taking damage. And goodbye Wave Force Artillery. Oh my gosh, that hammer tank, fully heroic, doing so much damage. Kind of crazy how much damage that hammer tank is actually doing. AIOP somehow able to just kind of come back from behind in terms of tech and doing so much damage with his Wave Force hammer tanks. He needs to make sure that he doesn't donate them away. Where are the Terror Drones? Are they actually out on this map? No, they've all been eliminated. He needs at least one to lock down these King Onis. He actually gets the lockdown with the Tesla Trooper. Very nice from AIOP, but Water, he's walking into them. Both of those King Onis did not have to engage there. They did not have to sit in that Tesla Trooper and just take all of that damage. That must have sealed the deal. I mean, AIOP has been in a pretty good position. He hasn't been hyper-aggressive throughout this game, but Water just donated his last two high-tech units, his last two real army units, and now he loses his Wave Force Artillery. He gets the kill on the bear, but really, you don't want to be killing the bears. You want to be killing the actual units, which are going to be killing you. Tank Buster Surprise does get called in, but 5 Tank Busters versus this army is just kind of silly. We've got now 5 refinery Soviet player, potentially even going up to 6. He's placing the reactor most likely more for the build radius than for anything else. Wave Force Artillery, can he get the shot off? No, he doesn't even get the shot off. He could have killed one of those hammer tanks, but now he may not even get any of the hammer tank kills. Instead, he does get eliminated there. The Leech Beam will be giving a 3rd Wave Force hammer tank to AIOP, and AIOP locking down this game oh so well. Emperor Rage going to be firing off as well, making these units even more effective. The fire sale comes off from our Empire player, and even though our Empire player grabbed that watchtower, Water was not able to make it happen. And it looks like everything dried up in the end for YZZD Water. The osmosis was just too powerful from AIOP. And I mean, the drought is really what ended up killing off Water. He didn't have the resources. Let's take a quick look at that graph. Actually, Water was ahead through kind of the mid part of that game, but then towards the end, the harassment killing off those refineries. And really, it was just the one refinery out on the water, and then kind of that center refinery, which kept getting sniped down by those artillery. And keep in mind, AIOP never had to build any artillery of his own because he was just constantly leeching it off of those Wave Force Artillery. On top of that, Twin Blade harassment groups did not hurt, and our Empire player, although he did go for some pretty great things, he went for some nice harass, it was not enough. And in the end, AIOP didn't have to go for the big engagements because they were being brought to him. He could use his terror drones, his leech beams to really take efficient engagements and to just crush the army of our Empire player. So a really solid game overall from both of these players. I love watching Chinese players go at it. They're just a ton of fun to watch. Very skilled players as well. And of course, when you get to see them actually on their own server playing against each other where the lag is considerably less than when they play against, say, European players, the results are pretty darn awesome. However, that will be doing it for this game. Thank you all very much for watching, and this is Sybert signing out.